First of all, dear participants, thanks to everyone for joining us today. And firstly, let me introduce myself. Also, my name is Gulshat. I'll be moderating today's event dedicated to the celebration of Nauryz. I'm from Kazakhstan, a beautiful Central Asian country, the country that is rich with bright and talented people. And recently, we are feeling very happy for one of the Kazakh musicians who makes history with first post-Soviet Grammy Music Award. So we are all happy for the Imanbek. So as for today, we are here to celebrate Nauryz, a very important holiday for Kazakhs, as it marks the beginning of a traditional new year. Between 1926 and 1988, we all know from the history that Nauryz wasn't officially celebrated in the Republic, but starting from 2019, 3 days beginning each March 21 were declared national holidays in Kazakhstan. And later, same year, Nauryz was included in the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity by the UNESCO. And since that time, March 21 has been known as the International Day of Nauryz. So today we will have a chance to listen to our great speakers from the UK and Kazakhstan, who will share the unique experience on Kazakhstan and Nauryz in particular. We will also listen to our traditional Kazakh lyrics, Dombra music performance. We will know something about our national cuisine, and I'm sure everyone could enjoy that. So let's begin, and let me welcome our first speaker, Nick Rowan, Editor-in-Chief of OCA Magazine. Please, Nick, are you here? The screen is yours.
Good morning, I'm here. I presume you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
And really, I didn't want to say very much except just to welcome everybody, to say a happy Nauryz to everybody. It's a wonderful time of the year, and being British and having an interest in Central Asia, I rather like it because I get to celebrate the New Year twice, both on the 1st of January and of course at this time of year. I think it's rather nicer this time to celebrate it at this time of year as the summer looks ahead, and for those of us who are in the UK, at least we have some light at the end of the tunnel appearing after what obviously has been a pretty terrible year last year during the pandemic. So I just wanted to add my welcome to everybody, wish you all a happy Nauryz, and I look forward to listening more from the session. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Nick. And it's an honor for me to introduce our next speaker, Gani Bikenov, Director of Nursultan Nazarbayev Foundation in the UK, a well-known diplomat who successfully represented the country for many years. Please, Gani, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gulshat. Dear friends, it's my great pleasure to welcome all of you, distinguished speakers and attendees at our very special online event, Nauryz 2021. My name is Gani Bikenov. I represent Nursultan Nazarbayev Foundation here in the UK, which is the largest non-government organization in Kazakhstan. We work particularly in the field of human capital development, education, culture, and expertise. As you may be already aware, Nauryz is a very ancient holiday, known to have been celebrated for 5,000 years by different cultures in Central Asia. Literally, it means new day, new life. Certainly noticing these days we're starting to get longer, the nights on the exposed plains of the steppe might have come as a welcome relief to the tribes, nomads living there after a harsh winter. Nauryz celebration today is a mixture of old and new, ranging from preparing food to rock concert. In fact, these days it seems that anything goes in market this very holiday Nauryz. As Gulshat already mentioned, in 1926, Kazakhstan became part of the Soviet Union, and celebrating Nauryz was banned. And only in 1988, and I clearly remember that day, I'm from Karaganda, but particularly at this day I was in Almaty, and I remember clearly how the first celebration commenced there. It was a big surprise for me, and I was a child, and I really liked it. And since then, we celebrate this very great holiday. As it was mentioned, in 2009, it was included in the UNESCO list of intangible cultural heritage. And in 2010, the United Nations declared March 21st as International Day of Nauryz. Today, significance of Nauryz seems to be even more important. It is very much necessary for all of us to cheer up after many months of pandemic and lockdown, and to start with a new phase and a new day. Thank you again. Let me give this floor to our ambassador, His Excellency Gerald Marco. We're very much honored and pleased to have you today, Ambassador. Thank you.
Please, Your Excellency.
Gulshad, thank you. Gani, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Great day. As Nick said, we hope for the sun to come out and the water becoming warmer. At least by theory, the spring is coming. So let's hope that the spring will come over here in London. It is still cold in Kazakhstan, particularly in Astana. But I see the smiles, and the smiles will definitely smell the snow and the colds. So I welcome all of you. Thank you for inviting me to take part in this event. I'm very happy, and let me thank my good friend Marat Ahmedjanov, Nick Rowan, for organizing this. I'm very happy that the Nursultan Nazarbayev Foundation is taking hold here in London. They have established themselves only a year ago here in London, and I can see, Gani, that your activities are reaping fruits. It happens that these days we have the fourth scientific youth forum for Kazakhstan and Central Asia. The foundation is one of the sponsors. We just had the first 2 days in a hybrid format from Kazakhstan, from the United States, United Kingdom, United States, Canada, and other places. Hundreds of Kazakh and Central Asian and foreign students are taking part in this forum, and I'm very happy that foundation has hosted it as one of the sponsors of this event, because the key mission of the foundation, as I understand it, is to support innovation, to support young generation through education projects, through scientific projects, etc., etc. Therefore, I hope, Gani, you will find plenty of opportunities and a fertile ground here in UK to achieve your mission goals, your foundation goals. Indeed, Nauryz is a happy celebration. I am very happy that we have such a diverse and cosmopolitan panel of participants. And I can see that you are all well dressed for the occasion, particularly Michael with the Kazakh robe and other participants. I'm very happy that we have adorned our premises accordingly to Nauryz. Nauryz, of course, is we all know, as Gulshad said, it's an ancient holiday which was hushed up in Soviet days, but it is picking up. If in early days it was celebrated for 3 or 7 days, now in Kazakhstan they celebrate it for 1 month. Can you believe that people do not do anything for 1 month? Play and dance and eat and drink. But of course, this is a joke. But seriously, Nauryz has a very deep, not only historic, but philosophical meaning. If I always tell to my Christian friends, can you tell me what is the core meaning, philosophical meaning of the Easter? It's the egg, the symbol. And what is egg? The egg is the symbol of the new life. And what is Nauryz? It's about the new life. So Nauryz definitely is a very prehistoric, three Abrahamic religions celebration. It was following the natural cycle of life. People were coming out of the early previous year's harvest time into the new harvest period time. Therefore, all their resources were depleted. Their physical capacities were depleted. Therefore, they needed something new, something empowering them for the future. Therefore, they followed the natural cycle, and spring equinox, when day and night equal to each other, was the day when, by belief, particularly in our part of the world, that the white forces of spring were overcoming and overpowering the black dark forces of winter. That was the time when people were coming out of those hardships of cold times into the brighter, warmer times of their future lives. Of course, that was a time when people were kind to each other. They tried to show off the generosity of their hearts, etc., etc. By the way, it's interesting. I read somewhere that the Santa Claus, as we know it, as I know him, originates from that old way of celebrating by humans in Mesopotamia of the arrival of new times. I read that in the markets of the Middle East in ancient times, there was a hero, old man, dressed in a green robe, not red robe, but green robe, and the green hat, who was kind of a center of the crowd in the market. And he was celebrating, messaging the arrival of new times, etc., etc. So we are all interrelated. Look at the Easter symbol, look at Nauryz symbol, look at the Santa Claus meaning. The meaning is the same. Let's be together, let's be friendly, let's forgive each other, let's be clean as the nature tells us to be. And of course, this message of Nauryz couldn't be more powerful and relevant, particularly these days when we are coming out, I cross fingers, out of the pandemic. The pandemic year taught us so many lessons. I hope that we learn these lessons. Very often, humans do not learn the lessons of the history. That's the problem of so many troubles we face. Therefore, I hope that we learn the lesson of the pandemic year. We learn the lessons of our ancient forefathers who kept for us these symbolic things like Nauryz. Of course, today in the 21st century, we took Nauryz to new heights. You have electronic sound beats. Of course, Imanbek, Gulshat mentioned the new star of the Grammy Award winner from Kazakhstan. Imanbek, what's his last name? I forgot his last, Zainibek, I think. A young guy from the remote rural place in Kazakhstan. Who could believe that a guy who never went into some, high-profile Western universities or something like that, hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of two capitals from Kazakhstan, and he won the greatest award, and he brought Kazakhstan into the limelight. So these are very bright examples to which we have to stick. We have to embrace the heart of this type of celebrations, be it the Christian New Year or Christmas, be it the recently celebrated Chinese New Year, be it the Nauryz celebration, be it the Holi, for example, in India. I can see my good friends from South Asia. आपको बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. मैं थोड़ा सा हिंदुस्तानी बोलता हूँ. मैं पाकिस्तान में और भारत में काम करता था 40 साल पहले, इसलिए मुझे बहुत से याद है. So we celebrate so many nations in the world. They celebrate the arrival of new forces, the arrival of new life. Therefore, I wish everyone that we have a prosperous post-pandemic year. There are many things to think about in the post-pandemic period. We have to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. And the biggest mistake in the past is the lack of trust between the nations, the lack of genuine desire to cooperate. That's the main mistake we have been repeating all this time in the history as humans. Therefore, Kazakhstan, as a small nation, raises its humble voice, which is becoming stronger and stronger, to promote these values, to call, to reach out to big ones, US, Russia, Europe, China, etc., to come together, not to think only about their egoistic interests, so-called perceived national interests, to think about the global interests, to think about the interests of all of us, of the future generations. This is the meaning and the message of Nauryz. Therefore, I would like to congratulate you with the coming months of Nauryz. It's 1 week away. Next week in the Parliament, also in the online format, we'll be celebrating Nauryz with our MPs, and all Central Asian ambassadors will join. We'll have officials from Central Asia, from the capitals. So I'm very happy. Then our student community in UCL, in King's College, all throughout UK, will be celebrating this holiday. We hopefully will have a physical event. We have located a very nice place in central London behind the Trafalgar Square, where we wanted to bring Nauryz with live music, with fantastic Kazakh and Central Asian food. Hopefully it will happen. We have been postponing it for the fourth time since April last year, but I hope that we'll be having this opportunity. Therefore, I wish you every success. I wish that we all celebrate this great time. But another great meaning of Nauryz is not only to sing and dance and drink. It's also to start working. It's to start bringing good to the earth. People in the villages were cleaning the channels for water ducts. They were cultivating the earth. They were planting the seeds. So it's not about only singing and dancing, as I said, but also it's about hard work, collective work with forgiveness and clear hearts and minds. So I wish you every success, every good wish which we have in our hearts. I can see people from so many geographies. It's a fascinating thing that you are bringing together so many people. And I'd like to tell you that let the spirit of Nauryz in every nation's new year with its good symbols prevail and lead the life in the future. I thank you once again for this a little bit maybe emotional, because Nauryz is emotional. We have to be emotional. But I also want to apologize in advance because I have another video call and I will quietly disappear while you will be continuing your discussions. All the best to all of you, and all the best wishes of Nauryz to all of you and to your dear ones. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, thank you so much for such a wonderful speech, so much information, and we can proceed further. So now we're going to have a little break, and Božena, please, can you play 2 videos? First one is about Nauryz, and second going to be about Nauryz food, what kind of national cuisine. Thank you, Božena.
What is Nauryz? It is a non-religious celebration of the spring equinox and the symbolic renewal of nature. It is believed that Nauryz originates from ancient Mesopotamia. The name of Nauryz derives from the Persian Novruz, translated as New Day. In Kazakhstan, Nauryz has been celebrated since pre-Islamic times. During the Soviet period, it was declared ideologically inconsistent and was hushed up. It was then formally reinstated in 1988 as a public holiday of Kazakhstan. With time, Nauryz became a symbolic Kazakh New Year. Kazakhs often refer to Nauryz as Olaston Olokana, which means the great day of the nation. Nauryz celebrates the awakening of nature that symbolizes the triumph of good, the spring winning against the evil forces of darkness that are represented by the winter. The central theme of Nauryz is renewal, cleansing, the coming of spring, and the birth of new life. In the past, Nauryz used to be celebrated from 3 to 9 days. Various kinds of competitions were included in the festive program, such as horse races, wrestling, and aitas, a contest of improvising poet musicians. And of course, there were many songs, dances, and games. During the Nauryz holiday, it is customary to share one's dastarkhan, or festive table. A special dish, Nauryz koje or yogurt soup, is prepared for the celebration. Each yurt or nomadic tent house would have their own recipe. The only rule for making it was the number of ingredients, 7. The most widely used ingredients include meat, water, ayran or yogurt, which are traditional Kazakh dairy products, and different types of cereals and herbs. Since the central theme of Nauryz is renewal and joy, hence is the tradition on the eve of Nauryz to thoroughly clean one's house, return all debts, and make peace with all. But Nauryz is not only about festivities and dastarkhan. One has to also help the land clear its life-giving arteries, that is, clean natural and artificial water channels, wells and springs, wishing fertility to the motherland. Cultivation, planting and other agricultural works are to be started. Nauryz celebrations in today's Kazakhstan start on 21st of March and last for 1 month. Many sports and cultural events are held during this month throughout the country. Nauryz has become a loved holiday of each citizen of Kazakhstan and a symbol of peace and unity. Happy Nauryz, and may the new year bring only joy, abundance and prosperity.
Okay, thanks, Bojana. And here's another video on our national cuisine.
Hello dear friends, my name is Luisa. Happy Nauryz! As you know, Nauryz is celebrated mostly in Central Asia and Kazakhstan is no exception. However, we are located in London, United Kingdom. So even though we are far from our mother country, we decided to cook one of the traditional meals. So basically we would like to cook sharev. Sharev is also known as a sausage, basically. So we have few ingredients here, but I would like to stress one thing. Horse meat is close to impossible to get in the United Kingdom. So today we will be making an international sausage. So as you can see, we have some meat here, some horse meat. This meat came from Argentina. We have some casing. I'll show you, casing can come from England and it comes in this package. I'll show you in a second. So that's the packaging. So basically it says that it has 9 meters in it. Out of 9 meters we can get around 6 to 7 sausages, sharev. And also not all families that are located in the United Kingdom know that you can buy actually horse meat. But as I said, it will be international. So one of the companies you can buy it from is cuisine. It's no advertising, but for you as a reference that you could go to this website and order horse meat to cook with your beshparmat and to make the sausage that we're gonna make today. So, as for ingredients, we have horse meat, we have some garlic. It's international as well. It comes from Spain, so you'll need to mince it. And as I mentioned before, casing and few basic things such as pepper and salt. Also, you will be needing some threads. So they're basic sewing threads, but you'll need to make several layers of it. So once all the ingredients ready, by all the ingredients ready, I mean that your meat should be defrosted. You should cut it into the cubes. And then we will start by putting some salt. Give me a second. So salt, please be generous with it because the sausage should be salty, as you all hopefully know. But if it's your first time, don't be afraid to use it. Okay, and now we're gonna add some pepper. I'm using black peppercorns, but you can use the rounded pepper, so it depends on your preference. So we should be generous with it as well, as it gives some aroma and nice taste. Now we will add some garlic. So you had some cloves and then you minced it. I'll put it with my fingers first. So once all the ingredients in the plate, you'll need to use your hands. Try to mix it all well so that your salt and pepper as well as garlic goes into all the parts. So now I'd like to show you a little bit of sharev, the part that is ready. I filled it out for you in order to see how it should kind of look like. So in order to fill it out, you need to take a few pieces. For instance, now I'm taking a piece that is very fatty. So I push it in like this. And then I take another piece that is like almost lean. And then I continue doing so until the end. And now I'll need some assistance to close it. Okay, so I'll give this part to my friend. So like this. Don't push the thread too hard because you can break it. So here's the final product. As you can see, we have 2 large sausages and 3 smaller ones. So the large one we usually use when we have guests for such event as Nauryz, and the small one, if you're a family of 4, that will be plenty to have for your day-to-day meal, if you use farmak or any other dishes. So our sausage is ready and we're using it in this farmak. Bon appetit and Nauryz to go.
Thank you, Patana. Such amazing video. Now I definitely could feel Nauryz spirit. So great. Thank you. So, shall we continue? And let me welcome our next speaker, John Farden. John Farden, he is a writer, poet, songwriter, and translator of literature from Central Asia and Russia, and chairman at Eurasia Creative Guild. John Farden, please.
Hello there. Thank you very much for the introduction, Gulshat. It's a great pleasure to meet you all, and great pleasure to be here on this celebration of Nauryz. Now, Nauryz is the time of the equinox, and it's one of only 2 days in the entire year when day and night are equal length across the world. And this is a remarkable equality, and it's a very beautiful thought. And try and think of it now deeply. Hold in your mind's eye this moment where all the world experiences the same day and the same night. It's a great leveler, a reminder that all of the earth is one. It's humbling and inspiring at the same time. Right now, we are all truly synchronized, a part of this great planetary mechanism that whirls and whirls endlessly through the dark and vast emptiness of space. We humans everywhere are all part of this miraculous happening. We're on a small ball of rock in the vastness of the universe, whereby some extraordinary sequence of events, an astonishingly rich variety of life has emerged. The equinox and Nauryz reminds us how special life on Earth is, and how blessed we are to be here and alive, and how we should cherish and give thanks for every scrap of life. The equinox is special too because it's the first day of spring. This has always been a special time, celebrated since the dawn of humanity. Ancient people watched the sky. They marked the movement of the sun. They felt the milder air on their cheeks. They smelt the scent of new buds on the breeze and rejoiced that the dark, cold days of winter are past and that another new year has come round, full of new life, new hope, new warmth and new growth. I believe Nauryz is Persian in origin, and Ambassador Idris has said it's Mesopotamian. So it's celebrated in countries where Persian and Mesopotamian traditions survive across Central Asia. But here in Britain, the spring season, though it has no official festive day like that, is similarly cherished. And it's inspired some of our most beautiful poetry, which I'm sure will echo the feelings in places where you do celebrate Nauryz. The English poet Wordsworth described delightfully the excitement of the time in his poem, Lines Written in Early Spring. He says, "The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure." And in the Eurasian Creative Guild's wonderful new poetry almanac, Voices of Friends, which you should definitely all get because it's just wonderful, we feature Hopkins' lovely poem, Spring. It begins, "Nothing is so beautiful as spring, when weeds in wheels shoot long and lovely and lush. Thrush's eggs look little low heavens, and thrush through the echoing timber does sow, rinse and ring. Now, Hopkins brilliantly turns nouns and adjectives into verbs to give a sense of vibrant activity and the strength of inner life coming through. And yet, these images are not quite how spring feels right now. It comes at the end of a very turbulent year, a year full of tragedy and fear. And after such a long and bitter night, the coming dawn awakens trepidation as much as excitement. I myself have got really used to being locked down, so used to staying secure in my own place of hibernation, listening to the howling winds of bad news whipping past my windows, that I confess I am nervous as to what to expect. But I know that the past year has also been a stark reminder that we cannot go on as before. We cannot treat people and nature as disposable goods to be thrown into the trash can of economics. We are each blessed with the great treasure and the great miracle of life. So I fervently hope that we can all accept the Nauryz spirit of renewal, and that we can move past the tired and greedy ways of the past and begin to work together to embrace a kinder future in which we grow new and fresh and tender and green again. So let us all become fragile buds, discovering and delighting and being thankful for the wonder of life, for the wonder of each other. We have been blessed in the pandemic with forums like this, which we can share our views and hear each other across borders, and it's actually rather wonderful. Let's keep this spirit of cooperation up and run with it and make it real and lasting. So I'll just finish with some more lines from Hopkins's poem included in our almanac. So Hopkins writes, "The glassy pear tree leaves and blooms, they brush the descending blue. That blue is all in a rush with richness, the racing lambs too have their fling. What is all this juice and all this joy? 'S a strain of the earth's sweet being in the beginning in the Eden garden. Have, get it before it cloy." So yes, let us treasure the world and treasure life and seize this chance to renew it. A happy Nauryz to you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for reminding us how important it is to be grateful nowadays. So let's continue. And our next speaker is Jim Brown, the mayor of Stevenage. And last year, it's marked 30 years since the establishment of twinning relationship between the cities of Shymkent in Kazakhstan and Stevenage in England. So I assume there is huge potential of both cities to enhance the sustainable development between. And our next speaker will tell more about that. So please, Jim Brown, the honored guest, the mayor of Stevenage, this floor is yours.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and apologies for the lack of camera. So yeah, greetings from Stevenage. Stevenage is about 50 kilometres north of London, and I certainly can't follow the last speaker, but here the flowers are coming out, the sun is almost shining, and I'm allowed to have a haircut on the 12th of April. So that may be a sign of spring in itself. But hello everybody on this wonderful Zoom event organised by Nursultan Nazarbayev Foundation in the UK and OCA Magazine. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I always appreciate the relation between the UK and Kazakhstan, and this year, as you mentioned, it's 30 years since the establishment of twinning relations between Shymkent and Stevenage. The special book, City Blooming for 2,200 Years, was published by Hertfordshire Press to celebrate that event. And I hope we'll have more projects and international cooperation with Kazakhstan and the United Kingdom in the future. I'd like to congratulate everyone that's been able to join us today for a special cultural holiday. And maybe, yes, we can get together for real at some time in the future. But for now, happy Nauryz to everyone. And once again, thanks for the invitation.
Thank you so much. And I do really hope the relationship will be only developing year after the year. So now we're going to have a little break again, and Bozhena going to play a video about Nauryz greetings from around the world. So Bozhena, please.
Қазақ елім, қазақ жерім байлығым, биіктерге желбіресін байрағым, ашық болсын әрқашан көк аспаным, қазақ болып туғаныма мақтаным. Тәуелсіздік баға жетпес қазынамыз, сан ғасырлар аңсап еді бабаларым. Тәуелсіздік қасиетті тұғырымыз, ұлы елім орындалды арманымыз. Құтты болсын 30 жылдық мерейтойың, Қазақстан асқақтасын абыройың. Күллі әлемнің көлені бақыласына, мәңгілікке шырайлансын мерейтойың.
My name is Ben Anderson, and I'm here at my favourite place at ANU, Burton and Garran Hall. Today, I'll be performing for you a poem by Muktagali Makateyev. It is called, What is Happiness? The group started to argue, what is happiness? One looked for happiness at home, another went to far lands. Someone said, isn't wealth the happiness? Aren't you happy when you have everything you want? Another said, no, happiness is fame. If you have achieved more than everyone else, this is happiness. Other people said, happiness is a quick ride and celebration when nothing troubles you. Some people said, happiness is family, a faithful spouse, children. This is how I found this discussion. I don't diminish the value of children, wealth, or family. But for those who are different from others, don't lose hope, but listen one precious message. Don't look for happiness far away, find it in your heart.
Добрый день. Я Андрей Зец, казахстанский спортсмен, выступающий за австралийскую велосипедную команду Team Exchange Bike. В этот весенний день я хочу поздравить всех казахстанцев с весенним праздником Nauryz. Nauryz құтты болсын.
Happy Nauryz! We wish to Kazakhstan happiness, prosperity, well-being, best wishes from Australia!
Salem karşısında Nauryz kutlu olsun.
That's great. So we had a chance to listen all the Nauryz greetings from all over the world, from Canada, from Australia. Thanks, Bozhena. And our next speaker is going to be Peter Lindsay. Peter Lindsay chairs the Central Asia and Transcaucasia Business Information Group and has vast experience of working with Kazakhstan. So please, Peter, the screen is yours.
Thank you. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a very great pleasure and honour to say a few words at this superb event and have the opportunity to congratulate not only the people of Kazakhstan, but the entire Turkic and Persian communities on this wonderful and joyous occasion. Thank you very much to Murat at Open Central Asia Magazine and of course the Nursultan Nazarbayev Foundation UK for inviting me here today. I'm based in London and an international trade advisor. My job is promoting and encouraging business links primarily between the UK and former Soviet Union, especially the countries of Central Asia. My love affair with the region really began when my then employer transferred me from Taiwan, where I'd spent 4 very happy years, to Moscow, just in time for my first really cold winter in 1987. Although a slightly strange time to be living in the Soviet Union, I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. I've also lived briefly in Uzbekistan and travelled widely in the region. I work very closely with British Expertise International, and for the last 20 years have been chair of their CATBIG, the Central Asia and Trans-Caucasus Business Information Group. Sorry, that's quite a mouthful. I'm delighted to see quite a few familiar faces on this conference today, people who regularly attend our events. I'd be happy to explain more about this to anyone who might be interested in joining us. CATBIG has been operating for over 25 years in the UK as a forum for stakeholders from across the private and public sectors to forge personal links whilst learning about routes to market entry. CATBIG covers Kazakhstan, of course, Uzbekistan, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Mongolia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Kyrgyzstan. In addition to running trade missions, we hold regular meetings, either country or sector focused. Murat is one of our regular speakers when we explore the huge tourism potential of the region. He normally arrives armed with copies of the latest OCA magazine to hand out. CATBIG was set up following the first UK trade mission to Kazakhstan after the collapse of the Soviet Union. British Consultants Bureau, later renamed British Expertise, originally provided a secretariat for the forum, which was at the time a Department of Trade and Industry initiative. Our database now includes close to 1,000 contacts and is constantly being updated. During meetings, as the chair, I'm always stressing the importance of getting out to visit these amazing countries, meet the people, take time to understand the rich culture and traditions, including, of course, Nauryz, the Spring Festival celebration. British Expertise International celebrated Nauryz 2 years ago with an amazing exhibition of Kazakh artists. The event ran from Women's Day to Nauryz and was held in central London. Later that year, I was delighted to invite Murat and his Eurasian Creative Guild artists to exhibit in Brussels at a major international development exhibition. We'll be running a similar event this November and look forward to welcoming Eurasian Creative Guild members and the vibrancy, passion and enthusiasm that they all bring. On a personal level, what does Nauryz actually mean to me? Well, a holiday that transcends religious, ethnic, linguistic and national divisions, and most importantly, brings people together. It showcases the region's rich tradition and mythology, and above all else, it is an occasion for celebration, perhaps for a month, as the Excellency Ambassador said. But we'll be hearing more about this over the next half an hour or so. So once again, thank you very much to Murat at Open Central Asia Magazine, and of course, the Nursultan Nazarbayev Foundation UK for inviting me here today. I wish you all a very happy Nauryz. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. So, and now we can hear from Murat himself. Murat is a British publisher of the literature of Eurasia, and Murat committed to the development of an open society that could unite creative people and writers from across the Eurasia. So please, Murat.
Thank you very much, Gulshat. I would like to welcome all our friends from UK, Kazakhstan and around the world who joined us today on Zoom. I also seen over 40 people are actually with us at the conference, and another 100 watching us on Facebook. It's a really great event. We're kind of starting the Nauryz celebration events in UK. So I'm sure there will be many other events organized by embassies and organizations, but it appears we will be the first one. And it also reminds me like a special day in OCA Magazine history, because it's exactly 12 years ago when the first OCA Magazine was launched at the Nauryz celebration at Embassy of Uzbekistan. And for me, being myself from Uzbekistan, Nowruz is part of my DNA, it's part of my culture. So I've been celebrating it since I remember myself. And it's always a great event which kind of raises spirits and unites people of different nationalities regardless their religion. So it's very happy period, and I'm currently in Minsk, in Belarus. We enjoying warm weather, open cafes, so you can get a bit jealous in UK, but it's really great here, and I hope to be on Nowruz in Almaty. So I will send you some photos so you can see how it's going on there. Of course, we are a bit cautious with all the COVID measures, but Nowruz still stay with us, regardless of COVID or not COVID, regardless where we are, we always celebrate it, we always will remember it. And for us, for OCA Magazine team and Eurasian Creative Guild, it's been a pleasure to get together with Nursultan Nazarbayev Foundation and with Gani Bekenov to organize this event. And it's really, great to see so many people who responded, who join us, because as OCA Magazine, we have a huge team of contributors, writers, over 200 experts from around the world, 50,000 readers for our magazine. And being the only magazine in English about Central Asia, we really kind of build land bridges with Kazakhstan and other countries in Central Asia in the former Soviet Union. We're doing it, we've been doing it, we hope to do it in the future. It's our not the first event and hopefully not the last one. I'd like to say to everyone, happy Nowruz, and looking forward to see you again on our future events. Thank you.
Thanks, Marat. Thanks a lot for your contribution you're making to the development of the relation between two countries, and thanks a lot for organizing such a wonderful event. So our next speaker is Zhanar Kolbachayeva. Zhanar was a former Minister Consular at the Embassy of Kazakhstan in Russia. Zhanar also worked as the director of the Media Relation Department of the Ministry of Defense in Kazakhstan and as an advisor to the Deputy Prime Minister of Kazakhstan. So please, Zhanar.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just a second. May I share my screen? I'm sorry, you can't screen. I can't screen. I want to presentate.
Bojana, can you please?
Okay. I want to say about, first of all, about, yes, I create a special presentation. I want to share my screen. If I can't, it doesn't matter. Okay, good morning, everybody. I want to, first of all, celebrate in our Nauryz in the Eastern New Year, March 21st, and the day in the vernal equinox. The day has been celebrated for central of the Turkic peoples, translated from Farsi, Nauryz, a new day. Then Nauryz holiday in the Kazakhstan symbolize fertility, friendship, and love. On this special day, people dress up, visit close friends and family, and offer well wishes to everyone around them. For the nomad Kazakhs, the change of the season was a great importance. Winter was the most difficult time for years. If people and cattle survived winter, it was considered to be success. Also, Nauryz has long been considered as the beginning of change as they prepare for the holiday in advance. In honor of the holiday, people wear the best colorful dresses. Every person gathered in the central square of the village, danced and singing. And I have a great tradition. I can improvise singing because this tradition it's ancient and has need to smarter creation. It's really good skills. And of course, when I talk about our celebration Nauryz, I want to say about prefer we talking about Nauryz Koji. Of course, holiday without food is not holiday. The main dishes of Nauryz Koji, but I can talking a lot about this national food because more important for us. And we adding 7 ingredients sacred for Kazakh people, everybody. And just now in modern Kazakhstan, Nauryz is celebrated for 3 days, March 24th to March 23rd. It's public holiday. And the main participle and traditions of the holiday have not changed. As before, people wish each other well-being. In cities and villages, they clean park areas, plan seating, organize a large-scale festival, performance, favorite Kazakhstan artists, etc., etc. Then also celebration in the countryside is captivating too. Locals they hold primarily national competitions, which cannot be organized in the center of big city. And especially I want to say about Song of Kazakh are an integral part of the heritage of the people of Kazakhstan. It was a song that people talk about everything, working day, significant events in history, and emotional experiences that tormented the author and the people as a whole. You can learn about the love of Kazakhs for a song from proverb, saying, and the legends that tell about the life, everything of famous singers, musicians, and poets. It's a Kazakh song that is considered the main spiritual wealth of the people. For them, I want to sing Alkmaar songs, especially for you, Kazakh folk song, where it's sang about love. If I can, of course, sharing. Sorry, here or not? I want to ask. Music.
Yes, please, Janar. Thank you, Janar. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Janar. It's been amazing. Your voice is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, and our next speaker is Laura Hamilton. Laura Hamilton, editor and art curator from Glasgow, and I've been reading your interview, and you've mentioned that you are interested at the moment in editing English translation of Central Asian literature in tandem with memoirs by UK authors. So please, Laura, can you talk more about that? Laura, are you here? I think you are muted. Can you please unmute your microphone?
No, unmute?
Yes, yes, thank you so much.
Happy Nauryz, everyone. What a joy to welcome longer days and sunshine after such a hard winter. And it must be particularly hard in Central Asia this year to celebrate with friends and family because probably like us in the UK, we're not allowed to go anywhere. So I hope wherever you are, in your little bubbles, as we say in the UK, that you make the most of the week, the month ahead. I've been to Kyrgyzstan several times and edited numerous translations of Kyrgyz novels and epic poems, but strangely, none of these mention Nauryz. None of the works that I worked on, which is, I never thought about it before, but now thinking back, it is peculiar. Also, on my visits, it's always been in the summertime or just before Nauryz. So sadly, I haven't had the opportunity to celebrate with my Kyrgyz friends. I have, however, been invited to Nauryz celebrations in Edinburgh, thanks to Shasim Murray and other Kyrgyz people living in Scotland. So I do get a sense of what it's all about. The food, yeah, when I explained, when I was invited to come along today, I did explain that I hadn't actually participated in the actual first-hand Nauryz celebrations. So I was asked to speak briefly about my impressions of food. The world over, big events are celebrated with food, and no less so than Kyrgyzstan. Hospitality is second to none, but pretty difficult for vegetarian like I am. Having said that, and it was interesting to see your little cookery demonstration, it is commendable that in Central Asia generally, the food sources are so sustainable and purely organic. And so whilst in the UK, people bang on about grassroots and organic food, most of the stuff that we think is good for us or we enjoy is imported from elsewhere, and it's not really very green at all. The other thing that always strikes me when I go to Kyrgyzstan is the role that the young people play in preparing and cooking the food. It's not unusual to have women brought in from other families, and particularly daughters, daughters-in-law, nieces, all making the food and serving it to guests, which is something in the UK that our teenagers would run a mile from. They would be horrified if they were commandeered by aunties and uncles and family to make food and prepare it. So that is something very charming about the country, and something our kids could learn a lot from. The other thing is that when you go out, it's inexcusable not to pop into somebody's yurt for a cup of tea or something to eat, no matter how meager their provisions. This can add hours onto a simple expedition, but is the loveliest way to mix and meet with the local people. I recall, and also whenever you go on picnic, whenever you go on a road trip, the boot is always filled to the gunnels with all sorts of goodies for a picnic. And I'll never forget being taken to Alaka with a bootload of rugs, tablecloths, all the rest of it, walking about 4 yards, whereupon my host laid it all out. We sat down for a picnic, and I was itching to get up in the mountains, but it would have been impossible and very rude to have done that. The day later, a lady in a shop in Bishkek approached me laughing and said, "We watched you the other day up in the mountains, and we were laughing and laying bets as to when you would start running away, because whilst your Kyrgyz friends were relaxing and eating, we could tell from a Western perspective you wanted to be up and away. Having said that, I can think of no lovelier way than to celebrate Nauryz, than being in the mountains or anywhere on the steppe with my Kyrgyz friends today. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but hopefully next year. Thank you. Happy Nauryz.
Thank you, Laura, for sharing with us your personal experience of one of the countries of Central Asia. Thank you so much. And our next speaker, let me introduce, is Natalie Bays. Natalie Bays is co-founder of the Romford Film Festival, and in cooperation with Eurasian Guildia, they annually held the film festival. So please, Natalie Bays, the screen is yours.
Hi, thank you so much for the invitation to come and speak at this event. I feel like I've learned so much about all of this amazing cultural celebration already, and it's literally an hour into the conference. So I've been writing notes. So if you see my head going down, it's just because I'm learning so much, and just from you all speaking. I think for me, as a person from London, England, who hasn't experienced this event in person, unfortunately, I was invited to Nauryz event last year, and then the pandemic hit and it didn't go ahead. So feeling a little bit scorned by that experience. But for me, the idea of an event like Nauryz, celebrating spring and light coming from darkness, and all of these amazing things with food, and like from what the videos were saying about how you should kind of make amends with people as part of Nauryz. This is such a human thing, and I think when you have an experiential celebration that is so human, actually there's some really raw connection that can be made from that. And I feel that this event and this celebration isn't something that should just be defined to Central Asia. Actually, it's an event that everyone can relate to. I work with very hyper-local communities in East London, and I know from their experiences of learning about new cultures, there's always a lack of accessibility in how they connect with a different culture. How do you connect with somebody that doesn't speak your language? How do you connect with somebody that does things slightly different? An event like Nauryz, actually, it's about being human. It's not about doing things differently. It's about celebrating what we are all accustomed to, which is good food, having joy and celebration with culture and art, and being with friends and family, dancing. All of these things are just so accessible, so relatable to everyone. And I'm really, really excited for the pandemic to end and to either attend a Nauryz event at the end of this year, just in reflection of kind of light overtaking darkness, or bringing on 2022, where maybe I can find myself in a Central Asian country celebrating as it should be celebrating, and then maybe taking it home and finding some local people who really, really want to share that joy as well in London. So thank you again so much for inviting me along to this conference. I've really enjoyed listening to singing, watching the videos, just listening to people's experiences of something that I know so little about, and something that I'm really excited to participate in at some point in the future. So thank you, and happy Nauryz.
Thank you so much, Natalie. We are actually all excited when the pandemic will be over and we can go outside and enjoy and see our family and enjoy. Thank you so much, and we would be happy to see you one day in Kazakhstan. Please let us know. So now we're going to have a little of bit Kazakh music performance by Dana Nurabayeva. Dana Nurabayeva, can you please? Yeah. So Dana Nurabayeva is traditional Kazakh music soloist and Korkut Echo Saz music group member. So please, Dana, the screen is yours. Dana, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much, Dana. Your performance is absolutely amazing. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. And our next speaker is Dr. Daba Chodhuri, professor in entrepreneurship and knowledge management. Dr. Daba represents a group of educators in the United Kingdom who plays important role for developing the education ties between two countries. So please, Dr. Daba, the screen is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thanks to my good friend Marat, who is always invited me in many occasions last few years, and also thanks to Nazarbayev Nursultan what is called Foundation, who are actually heavily supported this event. And not the least, I also want to thank the I think one of the important person, Bojoana, who is I think connected all of us by emailing, by texting. I think that is the important thing. So thanks to all of you who are joining today. I want to explain a little bit like in what I actually have experience from Kazakhstan since 1994. Actually, I was grown up with a Central Asian student in Turkey, especially after independence of Kazakhstan 1919 or sorry 1991 or 92. So I was actually joining this celebration since my childhood, and I missed this thing last year only. However, before that last year, I was always in Kazakhstan. Most of this time of the year, I was either teaching as a visiting professor in Kazakhstan or joining this celebration in Cambridge. Especially, we have a group of people. Not only that, I was also joining embassies, celebration in London, some event happening every year. So these are actually making me a lot of relation with Kazakh communities, and also to understand like how I celebrate actually in 2019 in ESNF University in Aktau. I was heavily involved in to develop in the young entrepreneurship development in Aktau. So not only that, as I mentioned, like in many occasions, I was actually trying to changing their ability, especially young people, to understand the entrepreneurship and creative new business in between these two countries. So the quotation is this celebration is fabulous, and I think that is actually making the change to understand how people will love each other, meet each other, and creating value. And one to quotation from Mr. Idrisova, what he actually mentioned few minutes ago, like people need to change and people need to lesson learn. I think this year, this pandemic especially give us a lot of new lessons, which we are actually learning from that pandemic, or still we are learning. However, this platform, especially if you look at it, we are in the Zoom meeting and technology is actually connecting us. So that is, I think, something we are learning, how we connecting, how we handshake each other, and not in physically, actually the emotionally, how we managing our relation, joyfulness, and creating value to each other. So thanks for everyone, and especially this type of days, and now what we are overcoming. I think this music, to see the best farmak and food, and I think that all creating new things, and our mind should be glowing. So thanks to everyone, especially all organizers, and hoping to be a good year in ahead. and happy Nauryz and Nauryz Kutlu also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baba. And our next speaker is Dr. Gerald Marco. Let me introduce. Dr. Gerald Marco is an affiliated researcher at the Cambridge Central Asia Forum at Cambridge University. Dr. Marco has been publishing extensively on Russia and Central Asia, with a special reference to topics like Soviet nation building and conversion to Islam. So please, Dr. Gerald, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation and for organizing this wonderful event. And thank you all for joining us. In the vein of greetings from all over the world, greetings from Istanbul, where the weather bears very curious resemblance to that in Cambridge, which I dare to say is quite an achievement. It's pretty rainy and the city is in partial lockdown. However, the spring is coming, however, slowly. And I do believe this is the core of Nauryz. Nauryz is a tradition that has deep historical roots and millennial old history that truly connects the region of Central Asia and beyond. And if you look back on Central Asia's history, there is much of fracturing and past seeking over the past 30 years, for example. But Nauryz is truly a tradition that connects people of Central Asia and reminds that, and I do believe this is of supreme importance, that there is far more that connects the region's peoples than it divides. And as His Excellency mentioned, when we celebrate Nauryz, people sometimes only focus on the nice aspects, the food, the music, the celebrations, and we forget that for nomads like the Kazakhs, the change of the seasons was of great importance. And this was the case for thousands of years, the true circle of life for a great many peoples far beyond the current geographical region of Central Asia. And winter was the most difficult time of the year, quite naturally. At this time, the Kazakhs, for example, lived on pastures and cared for livestock. And in this 12 months cycle calendar, mass deaths of livestock occurred for around every 6 months. So if people and cattle survived the winter, it was considered to be a massive success indeed. And therefore, the welcoming of the spring, when people moved to spring pastures, was to be celebrated. And indeed, Nauryz is a celebration of life and work. And in this sense, I do believe that this year's celebrations are truly special. We are emerging from a literally harsh winter that we haven't seen in decades, or maybe even half of a century. And the world in which was for the past decades becoming more and more connected due to the pandemic, quite very much fractured the connections that we built over the past decades. And Nauryz and the coming of the spring reminds us that unity is of great importance in Central Asia and beyond. And maybe the weather will get better as well, at least here in Istanbul at some point. And on that note, we at the Central Asia Forum at Cambridge, led by Professor Sidar Saxena, who is sending his best regards to His Excellency and everyone who is attending. We really wish you a happy Nauryz and a very, very warm and positive spring. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Dr. Gerald Marco, for your excellent comments. And our next speaker, let me introduce Michael Daniel Zagates, who is an independent researcher from Wales, who has traveled and lived in former Soviet republics to premiere his documentary exhibition performance, Josepha Letters, please correct me if I'm wrong, Extraction from Oblivion, a collection of Gulag letters. Please, Michael, the screen is yours and you can share with us all the experience you had.
Hello, thank you very much, Gulshat, for the introduction, and hello everyone. And yes, very, very glad to be here to celebrate Nauryz. Very much also like to echo Dr. Marco's just recent contributions there about just how important this celebration is. I myself am very new to understanding just what Kazakhstan as a country endured in its past historical forms. It's something that growing up here in the UK, I really didn't have much knowledge of, but I would discover that actually Kazakhstan has been very much one of the recent accessory countries in the creation of my own family's history, and that just would only kind of surface recently. But having then made a discovery, I wanted very much then to go out and find more out about the country. and the first visit in 2017 would actually introduce me directly to the fabled, famous, infamous Kazakh winter, and to really catch it firsthand exactly what these conditions were like. And I would end up staying through until the spring, not exactly until Nauryz on the exact date, but close enough to see things certainly change. And it's certainly left me with experiences and memories I'll never forget. One in particular being the Nursultan winter, actually kind of coming through all my ski clothing and still giving me frostbite. It was that penetrating. I would maybe try to kind of show you in visual form, whilst we have some technology to be able to share screens, maybe just to give some of the panel some of these visions and impressions. So if it's possible, I would share my screen and show a few images.
Bożena, can you please, Bożena, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Just 1 second. I will make you co-host.
I'm impressed how you describe the feeling of cold in Astana, in Nursultan now, because it is actually how it feels. The wind is strong and it's cold.
Yes, I actually went onto the steppe and took a number of images and photo sessions, and then also returned back in the late spring to the kind of same location and made a comparison of the same perspective, but taken from the new season. And it was absolutely a shocking contrast. Yeah.
I can imagine. It is different rather than in UK, for example. The season's quite a bit similar.
Yeah. Well, whilst I was making my visits on to the steppe, and one of the villages I stayed in, it was called Nurbulak, which I understand means shining spring. And it was there that I received this chapan from the residents of Nurbulak, which was part of the photo essay that was taken of the scenes of the steppe in both winter and spring.
Thank you for wearing it today. Bożena, could we share?
I'm not sure. Maybe if it's not something available right now, we can make it available on a link later.
I do not. Yeah, unfortunately, there is something.
Shall we proceed further?
Yeah, sure. Sorry,
Okay.
Michael.
Sorry about that, Michael. Maybe you could share the link and all the participants can go and see later on.
Okay.
So, thank you again. Let me introduce our next speaker, amazing woman Lakmini Shah, experienced member with a demonstrated history of working in the government and administration industry, and passionate about social justice, equality, and women's rights. Please, Lakmini, the screen is yours.
Спасибо, Gulshat. Привет, друзья. Я собираюсь сказать несколько слов по-русски. Потом перейду на английский, потому что последний раз я говорила по-русски, когда учила в университете. Это было 25 лет назад. So, thank you for your kind invitation from the OCA Magazine. My name is Lakmini Shah. I live in Newham, London, where we held the Olympics in 2012. Newham is a diverse borough, its residents speaking over 120 languages, so it is the United Nations of Britain. Saying that, I need to find someone who speaks Kazakh. I have Uzbeks, I have Russians, I have everybody, but I haven't met yet anyone who speaks Kazakh. So, I'm an elected member for the local government, and I have been in politics since 2006. I hear you say, why politics? My answer to that is, I studied political science, and the decisions you make through politics can create a magical world, providing you have the correct vision and the passion. It's enough about me, let's get to business. So, Nauryz is the festival of beginning of spring, celebrated in many countries, mainly in Central Asia and Persia. It is start of a new beginning, and you leave an old year behind and look forward to a new prosperous year. It also has an astrological dimension to it, with Aries starting a new cycle in the solar system, which is also a belief in South Asia. I think all these facts I'm mentioning about Nauryz you can get from Google search. It's better for me to share my own experience about Nauryz. Only thing, it's going to be in Uzbekistan, not in Kazakhstan, so I hope you forgive me. I studied in Tashkent State University, Institute of Народного хозяйства in Ulitsa Al-Mazar. If I tell you the years I was in Tashkent, I will give you my age away. So I'm going to say I was in Tashkent in late 80s and early 90s. I had the most amazing time in my life. If you have been to Tashkent, you will know the Misagach Bazaar. People used to give us free things in the bazaar, and their generosity crossed all bounds. The university did celebrate Nauryz, but it was not in a big scale as it is now, though my friends invited me to their celebrations at home. I love the cultures from Central Asia, which is very similar to my own culture. It is about extended family concept. Everything we own belongs to the family. It's not just your own. When we are young, we are looked after by our elders, but when we become adults, it's our turn to look after our elders and making sure their last chapter in their lives are comfortable. So with these great cultural concepts that we hold dear, let's make Nauryz a new beginning of love, kindness, and compassion. I look forward to working with the Kazakh community in UK. I hope I'll be given that opportunity. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a very prosperous Nauryz. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lakmini. And because we are coming to the end of the event, let me do a couple of comments. So as a former student here, I do understand the importance, how it's really you miss your people and your cultural background and homeland vibes, I would say like that. So today we have Kaysar Jaksebayev, who is the president of UCL Kazakh Society. Let me mention the largest Kazakh society in the UK. And we have Damir Manbayev, the student, who is going to perform on Dombra instrument. So please, Kaysar, Damir, the screen is yours.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to see you all. My name is Kaysar Jaksebayev, and I'm the current president of UCL Kazakh Society. I'm here with my friend Damir Manbayev, and we're taking part as representative of our society. First, I want to say a big thank you to the Nursultan Nazarbayev Foundation and the Embassy of Kazakhstan in the UK for inviting us to this celebration of Nauryz. The point of our society is to unite people from Kazakhstan abroad. We organize social events, career panels, and speaker conferences. This year has been a challenging year for us, but we as a society still managed to adapt to these changes and have hosted lots of events, such as a career panel for students, annual meeting with His Excellency, the Ambassador of Kazakhstan to the UK, Ilana Bitfaizovich Idrisov, a speaker conference with a political scientist from Kazakhstan, Dosim Satbayev, and a speaker conference with a Russian economist who used to work for the European Bank of Reconstruction and Development, Sergei Guriev. And in 2 days, we're planning on hosting a job fair event where companies from all over Kazakhstan come to search for new talents. Nauryz is the most important holiday in the Kazakh calendar. Nauryz means new day, as already mentioned before, and it is celebrated over several days from March 21st. The month of March is known as Nauryz in Kazakhstan. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we were unable to celebrate Nauryz last year, but the year before we celebrated Nauryz at our university. 2,500 people came from different Central Asian countries. There were a lot of traditional performances, dances, and most importantly, there were food stalls with long queues with people waiting to eat manti and plov. It was a great event which allowed people to share their cultures and traditions. And now, my friend Damir will perform and give you a taste of our culture's musical traditions. Happy Nauryz to everyone.
Thank you, Kaysar.
Thank you, Kaysar. Please, Damir.
Hi, everyone. My name is Damir. Happy upcoming Nauryz to everyone. I wish you the most prosperity you can have in spring. And it would be a pleasure for me to play right now the Kazakh song, Keroglekü, which I feel really encapsulates the Kazakh spirit and the freedom of step that everyone has talked here about. So. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Damir. It's been great. So before the end, we would like to show you the photos of Michael. So Angelina will share it from her screen, please. Okay, would you like to comment on them, Michael?
Sorry, I was on mute. I would like to say barikilde to Kaiser and Dima for the performance.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
And these are my contrasts between spring and winter as images from the steppe. This is between Aktobe and Nursultan from 30,000 feet to give an idea of just what the blanket of New World of winter looks like from this height of the territory of Kazakhstan, and what really is clearly a very, very hard conditions, incredibly hard conditions. Yeah, those were.
Thank you so much for your excellent photos. It's been amazing to watch them. And now we have a couple of comments from the participant, Rose Kudabayeva, journalist and translator. She would like to comment on the event. So please, Rose.
Hi, I just wanted to congratulate everyone and add few memories of mine, because I remember clearly when we first celebrated Nauryz in Kazakhstan. It was at the beginning of 1990s, and young people obviously don't remember that time. When Gani said that he celebrated it in 1998, but it was 1992 or 1993. And I was a young mother of my son. My eldest son was maybe 9 years old, and I was told as a mother to bring Nauryz kosher for the whole class, for 30 children. And you know, I think we didn't have a chance to Google at that time, and I didn't know how to cook it. And anyway, I found the recipe, and I've made my first Nauryz kosher. And I remember that the whole school, I think it was the first and the best Kazakh school at that time, number 12 in Almaty. And so it was wonderful. And Nauryz kosher, although it was my first attempt, it was wonderful. And I also wanted to remind young people, never take our independence for granted. I remember also clearly the time when the Kazakhstan, the whole country transferred from the ruble, from the Soviet ruble to tenge. And for a few days, we didn't have any currency. So the Russian ruble was gone, and we were waiting for our first tenges. And for a few days, we couldn't buy anything. And I remember that I baked bread at home. And I wrote about it, a story which was called The Loaf of Independence. For the book we created, I worked for many years for the BBC World Service, and we made a book which was called World Service Kitchen. And as a representative of Kazakhstan, I was a Kazakh producer, I wrote this story, how I baked this bread. And, you know, it really was the time when we were getting the real taste and sense of our independence, and we knew that great things are coming ahead. So I would like to thank, first of all, my young friends from Kazakhstan, to Louisa for her website where you can buy horse meat in London. Great! I'm looking forward to make the real beshparmak. And thank you for our talented young guys like Kaysar and Damir. Thank you for your wonderful skills and your art, bringing all our wonderful heritage to people in Great Britain. Thank you to everyone like Marat Akhmedjanov, our ambassador, Mr. Idrisov. And I also wanted to add this last 2-3 years were very wonderful for me, because I left the BBC and I took part in a few big projects translating Kazakh poetry and Abai heritage into English. And I'm really proud to be part of this process as well. So Nauryz kutlu bolsun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and all the best to everyone.
Thanks a lot for your great comments, and big thanks to the organizers of today's events, Nursultan Nazarbayev Foundation and OCA Magazine. And now concluding remarks from Gani Bekenov, please, and Marat. The screen is yours. We don't hear you, unfortunately, I think.
Hear me now?
Yes,
okay,
thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing with us this Nauryz spirit. I'm very much grateful to our Gulshat for the brilliant way she arranged this all. Thank you for all participants and particularly presenters. Please give big applause to them again.
Yes.
And yes, thank you for everybody. We will have more days of Nauryz coming. I really hope when all the restrictions will be lifted, we'll set a date and we will share all that we saw from watched from Louisa. We will do it, and we want you to come and to have a taste of our national food. So don't go far away. You are in our mailing list. We will send you those invitations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Marat, would you like to comment?
Yes, I would like to say thank you very much for everyone who joined, for the speakers, and to Nazarbayev Foundation to actually initiate and support today's online Nauryz celebration. It's been a pleasure to see His Excellency Kazakh Ambassador with his warm welcome and his very special Kazakh humor and smile. He's always cheerful, and I do enjoy his company, whatever events he comes in and participates. Just would like to add that for us, it's been also a very busy year, and because Nauryz is a new year, I would like to say a few words of what we've done. Just yesterday, we had a presentation of 101 experience of Kazakhstan new edition in Slovak language. It was very successful. We had people from all around the world, not just from Slovakia. We also have done the Voices of Friends Almanac, which is very unique selection of poems, including Abai and modern and classical Kazakh poetry we did for 2021. We been very successful with publishing Dulati Sabekov a selection of stories in Swedish language. We did by Gali Alimjanov book. We're also planning a few other books from Kazakh authors. So we are busy. We're promoting Kazakh culture. We're getting a lot of PR support. We went beyond just English language. We're doing things in Swedish, in Slovak, and hopefully in Danish languages in the nearest future. We're looking forward into future projects with Nursultan Nazarbayev Foundation. And please join us for future events. We've got plenty at 27th, 30th of May, Eurasian Film Festival in London, and our Open Eurasian Literary Festival. So please join us and have a good Nauryz. Happy Nauryz.
Thanks everyone for your time, and Nauryz kutlu bolsun. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, it's the end of the event.
Thank you, Bozhena, for organizing this. Thank you. It's brilliant.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
For arranging. Bye.
Thank you very much.